Lord, we just cannot believe that in some ways that we're here and ready to do this again. This is far beyond a lot of our, I know for me personally, beyond our wildest expectations.
Every trip begins with a prayer for safety, for thankfulness, and for the journey ahead. This is a story about a group of men who meet up once a year to enjoy the backcountry, experience fellowship, and reignite a common passion for the hope that is found in knowing Christ.
Three of us turned 40 this year, and this is a big deal for us, and so we decided we wanted to do a big trip. Since Glacier National Park was nowhere near where any of us live, we thought this was the year to do it.
There is a theory. You are the weak link if you put your backpack on the ground first on a trip. And I am refusing, because I have an extra shirt on, I want to get rid of it. But I don't want to put the pack on the ground. So I'm going to avoid that at all costs.
This is probably safe right here, just having 40 pounds hanging off your neck.
I'm just going to do this.
We were probably 2 miles in this year, and I was sweating beast.
I'm going to help you.
T-shirt. Wow, what a guy, dude. What a guy.
You know, sometimes you have to improvise, and I just thought that was pretty ingenious to try to maintain that sense of integrity of like, I don't want to be the weakest link.
Hold it. I still have an emergency, hand on it, just in case Carl decides.
Wait, it's not even on you right now.
I have it. I could hold it.
Get it on your neck. That is, no. Game over.
Nope, not touch the ground.
Just drop it. Those are like MacGyver-esque kind of tools that you can have in your belt, so I think it's great.
I was distracted by
Eventually, the packs did come off. Even Derek's.
Is that your electrolyte powder? Not that big. Yeah.
What kind of pack is that, Nate?
An osprey pack.
Yeah, that's why you don't want to take it off. It feels so good. That's right. Because it's an osprey pack.
Yeah.
How many ospreys do we got? 1, 2, 3. That's disgusting.
Osprey Exos 48 to be exact.
It's one of my favorite packs.
You got a 75er? Volt 75er?
Yeah.
Suddenly, in the middle of Montana, I found myself in the middle of an Osprey commercial.
Volt 75.
I've always wanted an Osprey. I want the Stratus 36.
So we just got done jumping off the rocks into the waterfall and swimming around. Somebody left their Uties behind.
I could have probably gone, I'm gonna say 8 days without my underwear.
So these,
What happened? Those were found down by the river.
down by the river.
Sometimes when you go jump in the river, you gotta let them drown the rock. Rocky knows what I'm talking about. I'm gonna go a lifetime probably hearing about how I left them on the trail though. And that's never gonna leave.
I think Knowlton actually used an entire bottle of hand sanitizer after touching Derek's underwear.
Most of the group had never actually hiked in grizzly bear country before. Derek and Jared were the first to have a bear.
There shows up on the trail 20 feet from me.
No way! Yeah.
There's the Glacier.
Really? Yeah. So was it black? How do you know? Was it more black than it was brown? Super black?
Yeah. I want to say it was like 4 or 5 or 6 years old maybe.
How do you know how old a bear is?
Because it wasn't huge, fully grown like a black bear.
Yeah, I asked him, he goes, how old are you? And he held up 4 claws.
I've never had any encounters with bears. especially on backpacking trips. And so I wanted to be ready for anything. And so I tried to go hiking in bear-infested area. And I found out I was not ready to fight a bear yet.
Somebody left something like this on the trail?
not leave food
Like
on
who
trail
leaves
with a
something like
bear
this on the
sitting.
trail?
There it is.
You know what I mean?
2 years in a row? 2 years in a row?
Look at that. You 2 years in a row?
Carl has a problem. You know, he's leaving the drink mix behind on the trail 4 times minimum. I mean, you're supposed to be this trail legend of backpacking, and you know, you're leaving food on the trail.
Found this on the rocks.
Derek is hiding my stuff and then saying that I'm forgetting.
Hiding your stuff.
If you go into my backpack and take stuff out and hide it.
So again this year, I left my electrolyte powder behind on the trail after we filtered some water. I think twice, maybe more than that. Derek keeps on catching me. I don't know what it is. I just can't seem to remember to put that in my pack afterwards.
The leader of our group left his little pouch of powder here behind, and we do not take kindly to people who leave things behind on the trail.
Not at all.
And not at all.
Not at all. Not even close.
Thankfully for Derek, he's picking it up for me and not letting me forget it.
Just give it to me.
Recognize. The great one.
Is that, do you feel like that boosts your self-esteem when you award somebody else's place?
His exact quote was,
That felt good in my heart. Love that, you know?
One of the annual traditions for this trip is handing out something called the Strider Award.
So the Strider Award goes to the person who either A, brings the most ridiculous items, or partakes in the most ridiculous things throughout the backpacking trip.
Like when Carl brought a patio chair. Like when we had a disc throwing challenge on a mountain pass.
Going right, way right.
And when Rocky dressed as Nacho Libre.
Some of the guys on the trip think all year on what they can bring to be the most ridiculous person on the trip to try to win the Strider Award.
8.2 pounds.
So this year my Strider contributions, they were scattered is the word that keeps coming to my head. So they were totally scattered because I just had a ton of stuff. The main things were crazy hat, football, which is pretty much a yearly thing, and then the sword. And that sword was pretty awesome. Kind of felt like William Wallace, like just traversing through the woods, ready for battle.
So my Strider contribution this year was the inflatable chairs. I also knew that a bunch of guys on our trip were turning 40 this past year, so that was kind of my unveiling thought. I was waiting for kind of the older dudes on the trip to be tired and sore, and so that was kind of my key point to reveal.
I had to turn 40 this year.
Easy recovery.
Ridiculous.
It's unbelievable. Man, chair. Oh.
But I had no idea what they were going to be used for on this trip.
And one of the best parts of the annual trip are the unexpected opportunities each day brings.
One of the verses that ties in well on our trip is Proverbs 16:9. The heart of a man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. This is a good verse for our trip because Carl does all this planning, but he knows that the Lord has a plan for all of us, and he establishes what goes on. He puts certain men together on this trip, and certain conversations happen because the Lord wills and plans this, and it's pretty amazing what happens during the days on our backpacking trips.
So along the trip there was quite a few river crossings, and one of the most memorable was we get to this little river and the water's super cold but not really deep, so you can walk across it and there's a rope. So a couple guys go across, they use the rope like normal people, they walk across. But Derek and Rocky decide they're going to take the inflatable chairs and go across. So Derek, being the brave one, wanted to go first. Rocky, of course, with Strider points on the line, wants to one-up Derek, so he decides to take his backpack.
Anytime there's an opportunity to get wet, Rocky's gonna do it.
He's going over! Watch out, watch out, watch out!
He actually made it further than we thought he would, and then, of course, he fell in. I don't think any of us thought he would make it without falling in the water.
But then he doesn't give up, hangs on, gets his raft back in order, and pulls himself all the way across the river. So we have the Strider Award that goes to the person who does a really awesome thing or brings something really cool. We also have a Fleshie Award.
The Fleshie Award is a toilet seat that was originally brought by Nate, and he strapped it to the outside of his pack, apparently because he doesn't like just squatting down and pooping onto the ground. And it became a perpetual trophy for whoever does like the most epic trip fail. So the person that does the most epic fail on a trip, the following trip must pay penance by carrying this toilet seat on his backpack.
And this year, Carl had to carry it.
Later in the day, another use was found for Jared's chairs.
As we were hiking next to a couple of beautiful lakes, I got to thinking about Jared's chairs, and I thought I could probably make a boat. They're super buoyant, and all I need is to figure out some kind of sail to attach to them, and we could do some pretty sweet downwind sailing. I attached them together, got some help, and we pretty much made a boat with a spinnaker made out of a tent like rainfly, and it was awesome.
Oh, you're going back out.
You'll notice. We haven't crossed it like that.
Yeah.
Guys, welcome home.
The wind picked up. We kind of sorted that out. A couple trekking poles and got it flying, and it was a beautiful ride.
And one of the best parts of the annual trip is the flexibility to turn backpacking gear into a sailboat that, in the end, made it to the far side of Glens Lake.
So Derek's got it pretty tough at home. He's got two special needs kids that constantly need his attention, his wife's attention, a nurse's attention, just somebody. I think this trip for him is a break.
I think the biggest challenge is making sure that they're breathing through the night and they don't choke.
A verse that comes to mind when I think about Derek and pray for his situation is Ephesians 3:20. God is able to do immeasurably more than we ask or imagine. And I just think sometimes we do not realize how powerful God is.
What kind of tea are we going to be having today?
Strawberry.
What? Strawberry tea? Yeah.
So my prayer for him is just that his children would be healed and that his children can just walk around and behave like normal children, and he does not have to go through the struggle that his wife doesn't, that his children don't. Until then, he's doing an amazing job, both he and his wife, just supporting their needs, and it seems like they could be at the hospital at the drop of a hat. Just can't imagine what that's like.
Go ahead and put that egg in there.
Each year brings new trials and tribulations that earn somebody the Fleshie.
We had 2 water filters on the trip. We also split up into 2 groups. The idea was to have 2 water filters, or 1 water filter in each group. I thought we didn't have a water filter in our group.
And we're starting the hike, he says, oh, we don't have a water filter. So Jared runs up ahead and grabs a water filter.
And then we realized we had the other one when it was too late.
Rocky stopped to filter water at this creek, and he realized that he has both water filters. And he got so angry, he started like freaking out and thrashing about in this rage. And later he apologized to the whole group for his reaction. There was a lot of forgiveness and it worked out. He got pretty mad, so it was pretty crazy.
So Chris was the new guy on the trip this year, and
I love the sound of that whistle. It's good. I bought this whistle because I was looking online at bear spray reviews, and they got good reviews, but a lot of people accidentally sprayed themselves in the faces, and they said it hurt.
While there were no bear spray misfires, Chris continued to be on guard for the rest of the day.
Something we enjoy about the trip is that we have no responsibilities. It's just us out in the wilderness with each other, enjoying each other's company. And one of the things that we do is we let our guard down and we're just out in the wilderness, having fun, letting loose, just being ourselves, which is really fun and I think relaxing and for all of us on the trip.
Let's get rock. Thank you guys forgive me for screwing up the water filter.
We've just been dehydrated all day, don't worry.
How does that forgiveness feel, Rocky?
For once in my life, no words. That good. Yeah. Forgiveness? Everybody listening, find it in Jesus. He's willing to give it to any of you, to all 9 of you who will be watching this movie.
We find ourselves casually just enjoying the weather and jumping into the lake. And out of nowhere, a dinosaur chases after us.
Carl Strider contribution this year was the dinosaur costume. After the descent from Stony Indian Lake, there was still a bigger, tougher mountain to climb.
So we've had a long day of hiking, and Chris was still just top of his game, hiking up the hill. Every few moments, hey bear!
There's definitely bears in the area because we would see bear scat all on the trail, and it was super fresh. Some of it was even steamy, a little steamy, and so I was sure there was bear nearby. And so, I don't know, like every 30 feet or so, especially when I was in front, I would just yell like, hey bear!
Hey bear!
Hey bear! Or you're like, yep!
We had 4 guys with us, and we were talking pretty loudly. I don't think he needed to call hey bear at that point, but man, he was just charging this last hill. We did not realize how big this hill was.
The only reprieve on the hill.
Here's one.
Patch of thimbleberry bushes.
There was a lead. There's one right here. You guys see the bear scat just like 100 yards back?
Barry? Anybody?
As we continue to go up and up and up, our water levels continue to go down, down, down.
And then I started to get really dehydrated and kind of tired. And I think I kind of lost energy.
And we get towards the top, and we're starting to get tired, and we stop talking. Kind of a quiet group now. And where did that hey bear go? Hey bear! Hey bear! Nowhere to be found. And that was the time that we were most at risk for the bear. So it's kind of ironic that he'd been calling it up this entire hill for miles, and then when we needed it most, just like the rest of us, we kind of tired out, kind of fizzled.
Carl! I need a hug right now. Nothing gives good hugs. So, we went up a mountain pass today. Felt pretty good, but now I realized I had a second mountain pass.
Everybody at some point has felt beat up, torn up, thrashed, all that good stuff. And on a backpacking trip, personally, I think that's actually a good feeling. Okay, like if I don't feel that way, it's almost like it's not a backpacking trip.
Late in the day and just over a mile from camp, everyone pulled together for the final push.
Gotta thank Jennifer for letting me come on this every year. You are the best, love. Where's the ring? Oh shoot! I just realized I don't have my wedding ring on.
What?
What? Oh no! Oh, it's in the top of my pack. It better be.
But Rocky couldn't find it in his pack, so he planned to backtrack the entire day in search of his ring. In the end, cooler heads prevailed and Rocky stayed at camp, where he played Strider Santa and pulled more and more ridiculous items from his bag. Everybody has a different idea for what it takes to win the Strider Award. One of Chris's Strider contributions this year was a game of Pin the Tail on the Donkey. A game that's possibly never been played hundreds of miles from the nearest birthday party. And one of the best parts of the annual trip is the enjoyment of fellowship after a full day on the trail.
This was the verse that really came to mind on this day with that beat up, torn up feelings. It comes from Habakkuk. Though the fig tree does not bud, and there are no grapes on the vines, though the olive crop fails, and the fields produce no food, though there are no sheep in the pen and no cattle in the stalls, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will be joyful in God my Savior. The sovereign Lord is my strength. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer. He enables me to tread on the heights. He just admits what is. They have nothing. They're done. They're toast. Israel was at that time. But then he goes, you know what? Despite all that, I'm going to rejoice in the Lord my God. He rejoices in God first, And then he says, God makes his feet like the feet of a deer. I was probably with Chris most of the day, and he and I got stuck behind everybody else. And all of a sudden he goes, dude, let's just catch him. I go, yeah, let's just catch him. We just took off running, and we were like yelling Sherpas as we ran down the mountain. Like, Sherpas! Ah! Like that. We caught up to everybody, no problem. Felt great the rest of the way. Feet of the deer, Lord did it.
The last day was one of my favorites. We had 12 miles to go, yet we still took time to kind of play around in the stream. To pick huckleberries, to just enjoy each other's company.
These are blueberries, aren't they? Maybe. Blueberries?
And when the finish line starts to pull you in, you really start to reflect on the trip and just how awesome and epic it was, and the journey that we had together. And this is definitely one of the best ones.
Hey, I'd also like for you to explain what utensil you're using to eat that stew with. Is that a tent steak by chance? Is it using a tent steak?
Yeah, actually it is. I don't want to dig through my pack. I have too much junk in there.
Yeah.
And this was just right on the bottom. I'm like, this will do. I mean, look how much I can get in one thing right there. Look at that.
Well, Muskrat right here, he just told me that he approves of your tent steak spoon.
And with a mile left to go, we decided to kind of split up a little bit and finish the trail our own way.
After carrying a 3-pound toilet seat 45 miles, Carl hopes to never win the Fleshie Award again. Nate, yet again, managed to wear flip-flops for the entire trip without any blisters. Derek finished with all of his gear, including his underwear, and Carl's drink mix. Eric was a little disappointed he didn't get to face off with the grizzly. Jared continues his tradition of log jumping. And by the way, the disc he threw in Yosemite a couple of years back is still going. Chris is officially no longer the new guy, though he's still acting like it. As for me, I had plenty of extra energy. Wanted to use it up before I left the trail. Rocky wielded a sword and a football the entire trip. And Chris got a hold of the dinosaur costume before we left. Later, at a local restaurant, the awards were determined. And for all of his trail blunders like hoarding water filters and losing his wedding ring, Rocky won this year's Fleshie Award.
In the words of Derek Somerville, wear it. So that's what I'm doing.
For the different ways the inflatable chairs were used, Jared won this year's Strider Award.
And it's his to keep until July is here again.
I'd like to apologize for the group of school children that are behind me right now.
guess if you had to say, am I an expert on identifying bear ageability? I'd say I'm pretty accurate. I mean, I feel like you can look at the knees and the joints of a bear and how they run, and are they hobbling? Are they gimping? Are they swift? Are they quiet among leaves? Do they know the way around? I think these all tell you how old a bear can be. Obviously hair color is a part of it. Do they have gray hair? I don't know. Do bears get gray hair? I don't know. Hey, bear! I don't know.
So Derek, one of the ways to actually age a black bear is by his ears. When they're younger, they're a little bit more up top. As they get older and their head starts to grow, their ears kind of droop down a little bit and come more to their side.
Oh, and weeks later, Rocky did find his wedding ring in his backpack.